Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to class 1 of Qi Development Tools. Let's see. Oh, we've got one new person, Gwilym. I think this is your first live class with me. I feel like I have been in contact with you for a long time, but I don't think I've ever met you.
Yeah, we were friends on Facebook for a while, and I was have your dad's videotapes from the '90s.
Yeah. No, I felt like, because I know the name Gwilym for a while. Oh, they're all rolling in again. Michael, who's Michael? Oh, welcome everyone. This is our first class for Qi Development Tools, number 1, the Heart Meridian. Good to see you all here. Most of you are here on Tuesday night. Hopefully you've been practicing that one. So, yeah. Let's get started, shall we? I really like Bettina's top. Yeah, no, from the back, it looks fantastic. Oh, no, it's a dress. Is it a dress? It's a dress. That's really cool. I like it. All right, enough about fashion. Let's get into some Tai Chi. All right, so tonight's class, we're going to be covering the first of the Qi Development Tools. These classes will obviously be the yin side to Tuesday night's classes. So I think most people were there anyway. I'm not sure about the people following afterwards in the recorded session of what we're doing now. But at least those people who are here live all did that one. Now these two sets of Qigongs, they don't have to be done together. They're very nice little standalone, but the Qi developments are quite gentle and yin, whereas the deadly kata Qigongs are quite vibrant and yang. So they really complement each other very, very nicely. And so it's always been my personal preference to teach them sort of one-on-one, so teach them side by side and learn all of them together. Anyway, this class, same structure as what I've already explained. I will explain it again just briefly in this first class because some people may only be following this and not the Deadly Kata class. So what we're going to be doing in this class is flowing through all of the 12 of the Qigong methods, of the Qi Development Tool Qigong methods from Taiji. Each method will take 2 weeks to learn. So in lesson 1, like we did with the Deadly Kata, I'm going to be going over primarily more of the physical attributes of the Qigongs. So just getting where to put the hands, the coordination, the where to step, timing the hands and the feet, the physical attributes of the movement. Now, whilst we're moving through those physical attributes, you're still going to have an element of the energy happening, especially if you've already been practicing Qigong for some time. If you're a total beginner and you're literally just standing here going, right, so I've got to put my weight back, touch the hands together, shift my weight forward, do this, you know, doing it like that, you're probably not going to get that much in terms of the Qigong elements. So just keep that in mind. If you are a beginner, you get to the end of the class and you go, oh, well, I didn't feel much Qigong happening. It could simply be because you've just been doing it a bit more mechanically, learning about those physical aspects of the forms. In the second week, next week, We'll go over the same method again, but since we know it then, we'll know where to put the hands. I won't have to go over that so much. We'll do a general recap, of course, but I'll then be able to go deeper into the breathing methods, some of the specific point activations, meridian activations, and the general flow, and the really, really subtle details to get this Qigong activated. Anyone who is following afterwards on the YouTube channel, and you don't want to miss the subsequent lessons, register, either comment on there or something. Just give me your email somehow, and that way you'll get the links straight away. And you can even join the live class if you wish. The first month is free for everyone to join the live classes. That way you can be here with us all and even ask some questions and things like that if you wish. Okay, now, given that this is the reverse, not the reverse, the opposite pole of the Deadly Kata that we did last week. So the Deadly Kata, we did a sort of a more yang-driven warm-up to get the blood pumping, get the heart moving a little bit before we started the Qigong. So we want to be in the right frame of mind, the right frame of body when we start learning these. Even though we're learning it from a little bit more of a physical manner in the beginning to get the physical parts right, just like when you're learning a Taiji form, you got to, okay, got to go there, got to go there, got to go there, yeah. Learn where to put your hands and then start to really get the Qigong to happen through your Taiji form. It's the same on the martial side of things. You get someone standing in front of you, go, okay, throw a punch at me. What have I got to do? You've got to throw that punch. I've got to block this here, right? Do this here. Okay, do that again. Block this here. Do this. You know, you work it out physically first. Then you say, all right, okay, now throw a punch at me. Try and hit me. Whoa! And then you got to do it a lot more martially. Okay? So this is how we learn things. Given that these ones are much more gentle, a lot more yin, our warm-up is going to be setting us up, getting us in the right mind frame, right state of body to get that happening. So we're going to start off with a really simple Qigong, okay, to warm our bodies up into this movement. I will teach you this Qigong. This is not part of the Qi Development Tools. It's a preparations Qigong. It just sets up your energy in a very gentle, preparations for gentle stuff, shall we say, Qigong. So I give this one first because it's so simple. The Qi Development Tools, they're not exactly basic. I wouldn't say that a beginner can't learn them. They're not so complicated that someone new can't learn them. But a beginner will probably be a lot more likely to feel something from inside, feel some kind of energy movement rather than just physical stretching and moving of the body. The simpler the Qigong is, okay? Beginners typically feel something when doing a Qigong that is simple from a coordination point of view and not too physically difficult, but has some movement to it. In my experience, for all the hundreds of people I've taught, when people do a standing Qigong, like I'm talking about their first ever lesson, right? They usually stand there going, oh, my legs are sore. Oh, this is horrible. I don't like this. This is boring. It's difficult. It's mentally difficult. It's physically difficult, right? Not from a coordination point of view, but it's just, oh, I don't like standing here, until you can really switch your body off. Switch your mind off, and then it becomes one of the most powerful Qigongs you'll ever do. But in the beginning, it is a bit of a chore to get it moving in the beginning. So that's why you won't feel much energetically happening, because your brain's saying, I don't like this. It hurts. It's monotonous. It's boring. Whereas a moving Qigong that is super, super simple, just something like this, you see. I'll take you through this in a moment, but something so simple like that, there's enough happening to make the mind go, oh, this is nice, I like this, you see. So straight away your mind gets into this feeling the energy flow state rather than static. So these type of methods for me are the best way to get a new student to feel something other than physical movements. The yin side of training is usually where people will feel something internally happening. Because yin energy in the body is just as strong as yang energy. It's not like yang doesn't mean more. It's just a different sensation, okay? So you can feel just as full, just as pumped up, just as glowing, however you want to describe the sensation, on a yin phase than what you will on a yang phase. However, at least in the beginning, there's all sorts of stuff that happens later down the track, but at least in the beginning, the way that we bring up yang, hence like what we did on Tuesday night, is slightly faster, a bit more, there's a bit more physical movement to it. Because there's more physical movement that you're doing to try to bring out that yang, it's actually more difficult to feel something yang because of the physical elements. If you can feel your wrist moving, for example, like this, or feel your arm moving and so on, you feel that stretch, that tension, that muscle activation. That's what you'll feel. It's like it masks the internal flow underneath, so you won't feel that. Whereas with the gentle Qigongs, what we're going to do now, because the movements are so soft and so gentle, you've got to get it to the point where it's almost like you can't feel your arms moving. So with each little hand movement that you do, for example, instead of going like this and, very rigid, it's extremely soft. The changes from yin to yang, for example, there's a yin hand and there's a yang hand. If I go anything past, as soon as even to there, I can feel something happening here physically. That doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It's just a different way of training. So if you're searching for that internal feeling, then essentially stripping away everything else, not to the point where there's nothing happening, of course, you've still got to move a little bit to get something happening inside. But you strip away all the bigger, chunkier, physical attributes to the movement, and it's no longer masking that sensation underneath. So by slowing down, by softening the movement into a very, very gentle way of doing it, you feel something happening inside, because you can't feel anything happening on the outside, or at least a lot less than usual. And this can be done through your entire Taiji form. This is why you will notice some people, myself included, often doing the Taiji form. And you might see people doing the Taiji form something like this. I'll just do a sequence. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing your Taiji form like that. That brings up more yang when I do that. It's a lovely way of doing your Taiji form. One is not right nor wrong. It's different. But then you'll sometimes see someone do Taiji like this. just gives you a completely different sensation. Both are fantastic, but what I just did there is what we're trying to learn from these classes, these Thursday night classes. Whereas the Tuesday night classes are more like how I did the form the first time. And this is something you can look for in any internal martial art school. If you see a Taiji class or a Bagua, or I don't know that much about Xingyi, but I assume the same thing should be with Xingyi. Any of the internal styles, any Qigong for that matter, anything that classes itself as a Qigong. Because Taiji and Bagua are forms of Qigong. They're martial art Qigongs, but they're still Qigongs. If you see someone doing Taiji and they only ever do, like every time they do their form, it's exactly the same. Yeah? So it's always the exact same. It might look absolutely perfect and precise. It might have extreme, amazing low stretches and perfect balance and their legs up here and this kind of stuff. It might be amazing. But is it really an internal art if the movement they do is always exactly the same? Now, it's my view that a lot of people, you might think they're doing something always exactly the same, but that's just what they show, maybe on their YouTube videos or something like that. Because, you know, it kind of looks a bit more spectacular. Maybe they keep this other stuff for themselves when they're just training on their own. But if you know for a fact that someone only ever does the big physical movements, in my opinion anyway, that sort of means that they're still at that level where they're doing physical exercise. And that's still great. That's a really good exercise. It's still really good for your body. But they haven't yet gone into that internal side of their training yet. So Taiji, Bagua, and so on, if done in a certain way, can just be like gymnastics. It's just a physical exercise for your body. But when you start doing your form and, you know, one day you'll flow through it like this, and another day you'll go this. It's all different ways. And even during one session of the form, you might start out really gentle and soft. Halfway through the form, you might be punching and kicking things. So your form can change and because it's emulating what's happening inside you. Okay. Right, so let's get started now. That's the talking part over. Sorry for rambling a bit, but I want to give you a good mindset as to what you're trying to get out of these exercises. Obviously from the next classes on, we won't have to go over that because it'll just be continuation. So, I'm going to start you off with teaching you the mindset and the structural set, as in how to hold the body, regardless of which positioning your hands are in. The general mindset, when I say mindset, the mindset of the muscles, like how to hold the body in this really simplified Qigong. Then we'll apply it into the Qi Development Tool. And of course you can apply this into any other training you might be doing, any other Qigong training. Okay. Does that say in the top right corner, musicians mode on?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we're just going to start out. I'll just show you the physical movements of this Qigong first, and then we'll get into the internal side. So just to have a look at it first, very simple. Just lift your arms up, let your hands go yin. If you've never done anything before, just to tell people that's a yin hand, that's a yang hand, just a really simple way of understanding that. And push them down. The same as the beginning movement of most Taiji forms. Let the hands go yin again, but this time out to the sides. And then squeeze them in front of you like a Hulk clap. And then reverse that movement out to the sides, just backing it up from where you came from, but push down yang. And then scoop the hands up with a slight yin shape coming through the palms, a little backward roll. So it's kind of like they dip in this way, like a backward rolling action. And then you push your hands away. breathe out. You hold that for a breath, then we drop the hands. We take the hands up overhead, and then just bring them down in front. So that's the physical movements to this simplified Qigong. It's not simplified, it's a simple Qigong. It's not a simplified version of another Qigong, it's just a simple Qigong. Okay. Let's go right back to square one. Breathing. Get our mindset, our brain in the right place. Just stand there, relaxed. Your knees are softened, but they're not squatted down like a normal standing Qigong or something. They're just slightly softened, just relaxed. The body is as upright as you can be, okay? So we don't want you kind of, slouching forward like this, but equally we don't want you sort of pushing your chest up like this. Just stand relaxed in a vertical, upright position. Feet about shoulder width apart and parallel, so toes pointing forwards. Breathe. When you breathe, you want a big belly movement. Let your belly push out. Watch my belly. Now, just because your belly moves doesn't mean no other part moves, okay? Don't get too fixated on only moving this. This can sometimes happen when people learn about belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, natural breathing, whatever you want to call it. But because a lot of people often breathe like this, shallow breathing, chest breathing. This is not healthy breathing ever, really. So nothing's happening down the bottom, okay? You're not using your diaphragm. So when we breathe in, yes, you want to start down here. Push your belly out and push the organs out of the way. It's to get the diaphragm to drag down and suck the air in. So your belly goes out. Big, big belly. Okay? Don't be afraid of looking fat or something, because your belly should stick out. We have this incorrect persona of what a body should look like nowadays. We think, oh, flat, got to have gut in, chest out like a soldier kind of thing. This is good, this is healthy and strong. Big fat belly, that's unhealthy, that's lethargic, that's overweight, this kind of things. You can be the skinniest person in the world, but your belly should still stick out when you breathe in, when you take that big, deep in-breath. Look at a child, little babies running around. When they breathe in, their bellies stick out, okay? Now, I'm not saying you should walk around bloated all the time. You got a problem if you're always bloated. If you breathe out, your belly shouldn't be there anymore, okay? But when you breathe in, it pushes out, all right? So that's the starting of your breath. But there's 3 major chambers of your breath. It starts down here. Then it sort of lifts up into your mid-chest here, lower chest. See how it's like, if I exaggerate, I'm sort of using my hands here to signify, because the top section, it's not as visual. You don't see as much happening here. This part's really obvious visually. This part here, if I pull my shirt a little tight so you can see, here's the belly going out. In fact, I'll do it without the belly, because then it becomes a little bit more obvious, visually obvious. See, it's very subtle, but if you look at that little area there, you can see it sort of pushes out to the side just a little bit. See that? It's the ribs going out like this. That's what we want. It's extremely subtle, but that's what should be happening just after this starts. So there's 3 chambers, here, here, and then here. But that last section, that's the most subtle. And that's the one that it's the one that should be the most subtle, but most people do it the opposite way around. They breathe everything here. This stays in, and all this tension, and that's why we get all this tension up in our upper bodies. So we need to get that top part. If I just stand here and breathe, this is how it looks. I don't know if you can even tell. I'll exaggerate it just a fraction, that top section. See that? It's just this mild little pop of the chest on the top. Not to the point where you're pushing your chest up in the air. It's just from a relaxed position, just to a, just like a, oh, what's up there? It's just a little. And it should feel like your body's kind of opening up like a flower in the morning. So it's like as if this is me again, and like showing you what I'm feeling. This is not what I'm going to be doing when I'm breathing, but this is sort of me showing you what I'm feeling. And then it's like it's closing back in, you see? And then breathing in. But again, that belly is going out as you're breathing. Okay? If you don't have that right, none of your Qigongs are going to work. Not very well anyway. You need to get the first absolute step 1 of Qigong is breath. Because the breath is that thing moving inside you. It's moving your internal organs. Literally, internal movement, okay, is your breath. It's kind of the physical attribute of internal movement, if you like, but it's what moves. It's something that you can feel right away that's inside your body. Because you won't necessarily feel energy right away. Some people do. Some people have a natural knack for it, but a lot of people don't. I certainly didn't when I was a kid. First training, it was just, physical movement. So. See there? It's just like I'm just a little bit, what's up here? And then, relax it back down. I'm just a bit calm. Up. Having a look around and down. The rest of the body is just, the whole body's moving when you breathe, but I'm not actively moving. I'm not wriggling my body around, but the whole body naturally moves because of your entire torso pulsating with the breath. Now when we breathe, assuming that you're in a relaxed state, it's different if you've just been for a jog or something like that, then you'll be puffing in, out, in, out, in, out, If you're doing something where your cardiovascular system has gone up here. But when you're calm, you should be breathing in. See? Doesn't mean you're holding your breath. I'm not breathing in going, I'm just making a sound now with my mouth so you can hear when I'm breathing. That's not how we should be doing our Qigong, but just so you can hear when the breath's moving. So it's like, we don't want that. You're not holding your breath. The breath is simply getting so full, it's like blowing up a balloon. You blow up the balloon, what happens? It goes. But as it gets bigger, the balloon gets tighter, the plastic gets tighter. No, not the plastic, we don't use plastic balloons. I have no idea what our biodegradable balloons are made out of, so I can't tell you. Anyway, as the balloon gets tighter, it slows down, doesn't it? But that first bit of the balloon, it sort of, because it's loose, it fills up a bit quicker. So it's kind of like that. It's not exactly the same, especially not the out breath, but it's not like you're when you breathe out. But the in breath sort of feels a little like that. So you're breathing in. And breathing out. Actually, my best analogy for this one is yawning. Let's all just try yawning. And then you breathe in afterwards. So what did you feel there? When you yawn, you didn't go, I'm not holding my breath. When I'm at that top portion of the yawn, I'm not holding, I haven't locked it in one place. I'm simply breathing in. It's like all the muscles in the body which suck air in, the diaphragm, all the back muscles, the rhomboids and everything, all the muscles that engage to bring air into the body. They're all still on the sucking phase when you're up here. They haven't cut off and relaxed, and they certainly haven't started relaxing to breathe out. So there. I'm still breathing in. It's just that it's slowed down to a point where it's sort of almost no more air is coming in. But if you had some kind of a sensing machine here, you'd still see the little particles of dust going in the nose, like it's still on the inhalation. And then when you feel it, as in when you feel the time is right, you sink back down. And then there's no set time here. It's just a natural settling of your body. Before you feel, when you feel the urge to want to breathe in again, that's when you should breathe in again. So simply breathing like this gets us into that calm state, gets us into a natural state. If we are relaxed, calm, like when we're sleeping, or we're just laying about, like now, I'm very calm and relaxed, that's how we should be breathing. If you're breathing all the time, in, out, no matter how slowly you're doing it, if there's no settle and no float at the top, there's something wrong, okay? There's something pent up, there's some tension, something not going quite right with your body.
Eli, I'm sorry, I lost your sound. Is anyone else having problem with their sound, or is it just me?
Yeah.
Same
The
here.
mic's gone.
Interesting. What happened? Can you hear me yet?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, that's better.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you for that. I don't know what happened there. I just gave it a little twiggle and it started working again. I did that once the other day.
No, I lost you again.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I got you again.
What the hell?
Fiddly.
I can hear the crackling of the connection going in and out.
Yeah.
What?
Testing 1 2 1 2 testing.
Yeah.
Right.
Testing.
Check.
Working.
Good.
Working.
Yep.
What happens when I go like this?
Well, it makes crackling noise that's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
Okay.
the cable's cracked. I mean,
And
you
if-
can hear it's turning on and off and crackling.
And if I do this, nothing's happening?
That's fine.
No, no funny noises now? Okay, so
No, all good.
this mic then.
No.
Okay, let's try this. This has a microphone on it as well. See, testing 1 2.
Oh, nice.
Okay, this mic's not quite as high quality, but at least it won't crackle. I need to obviously get a new one of those. There we go. Sound good? You can hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, that cable must be busted. Okay, so we're going to go through that sequence of movements now, this one that I did. You don't have to remember the sequence for now because you're just going to follow me through. It's very, very simple. You've just got to remember that your hands need to move with your body. Sorry, well, that as well, but your hands have to move with your breath. So let's have a go. In breath, hands go yin. See how they float at the top? They don't stop, they just float, then sink down. Same thing again here. They come up, breathing in. There's that little floating moment and squeeze together on the out breath. There's the settling moment and then the inhalation starts. And breathing out. Try and get your hands, particularly your palms and wrists. This is where a lot of the magic happens. To move so you can hardly feel them, the physical movements of your hands. We don't want to feel those physical movements. Now we just hold that position for one breath. So we breathe in and we breathe out. Then we breathe in again. Then on the next out breath, we let the hands drop down, going in. And then in breath, lifting up. And out breath going down. Now each week, we'll just take the first 10 minutes or so of class. Maybe not right the way through to the end, but at least the first few classes to do that Qigong. We'll layer in a few, there's still a few more details to go with that one. But we'll use that as our general setting the mood Qigong. So you'll get to learn that Qigong as well, which is a really nice Qigong. It's one of my favorite, particularly for beginners to learn. But we'll move on to the number one Qi Development tool now, which is a heart Qigong. So each of the 12, there's 12 of them, so one for each of the meridians. Same thing for the deadly katas. So these first deadly kata and first Qi Development tool is for the heart. Okay. It's based around the movement of brush knee twist step in your Taiji form. So you're probably all familiar with this movement in the form. Okay. So it's not this movement, but it's a version of this movement. It's based around this movement. Okay, all of these Qigongs, just like the deadly katas, you're going to do them both sides equally, so it doesn't matter which side you start on. So you'll probably be able to follow along in the most easy way if you use me like a mirror. Obviously do whatever's best for you, for your own brain, but in my in terms of most people, you'll probably find that if I've got my right leg forward, you put your left leg forward so that you look at me like I'm a mirror, and then you should be able to see, literally move with me, and you'll look like I'm your mirror. You're looking in a mirror, but you just look a bit different today. Okay, now we've already got into this sort of nice calm mind state, but we're now going to go through just the mechanical parts of this Qigong. So we're starting in a position much the same as play guitar. So in brush knee twist set, when we do this move, we roll the rear foot, we sink down, and we do this movement here. If you're not familiar with that movement, if you don't already practice Taiji, we're not doing exactly the same move. So the feet are just planted on the ground, both feet on the ground. One's sort of out at the corner-ish, the other one's facing forwards. It's just nice and relaxed. Nothing too specific. I'm around about a shoulder width in terms of width, and that foot's just forward where it's comfortable to go to. The whole point here, at least in the beginning, is to keep everything nice and relaxed and chill. Okay? We're not trying to think like, go deep as you can, long as you can, and stretch, and no, we don't want all that physical stuff happening for this Qigong. Keep everything a little more upright, a little more chill in the legs. Okay, and the hands just like that. Just sit in front of you like basically you're in a boxing stance, okay? One hand's out, one hand's back. A little bit more Qigong-like boxing stance, but it's very similar in its attributes. Okay, all you're going to do to start with, just the physical movements. Sit back, so you're already about 90% back in this rear leg, but you're going to sink back even more. Just sink back into your rear leg and bring your rear fingers. I'll try not to say left and rights because we'll be doing different if you're mirroring me. Take your rear fingers to the base of your front wrist, like that, okay? Sitting back. Notice I'm turning into the movement a little bit, so I'm turning towards my front leg. One. That's stage one. Stage two, shift your weight forward. Slide your palm straight up the face of the other palm, just like that, just like that. Very simple, just slide it up. Nice and gently, of course, but slide it up until your fingertips meet. So you think like that. Okay, now this bit I'll have to show you a little bit closer. This is the tricky bit. Take your bottom hand, so we were here, your front hand is going to become your bottom hand. So see how they're on a slight angle. It's not like this, it's not completely over. It's about a 45-degree angle, something like that. So, once they get to there, palm on palm, coil your right fingers in. It's like you're making a fist, like that. But you're not making a fist, you just... See? Just reverse, just do this to start with. Okay, reverse it, but lead like a worm. Lead with the fingers, you see? That's what we're doing. Now put your hands back in that position. Do the same thing, but because of the positioning you're in, you won't get all the way down, you see? See here, sort of like it's a nice angle to go all the way down. Once your hands are out here, you just go to there. Just to the point where the finger, the longest finger, is just getting to the base of your wrist, here. So, tip to tip, and then just to there. When your longest finger reaches the base of your wrist, you're done. 1, 2. Now, let it slip out. See? Oh, hello. Just peekaboo out the inside of the wrist there. Let the fingers turn over and poke towards the front. The left hand is just sitting on the back of the wrist. Or the top hand is sitting on the back of the palm here. See how, as I do that movement, the other hand is cupping? You see? So I'm no longer just doing this like I showed you before. As soon as I start that, it's the right hand's leading, so it's tucking in, but then the left hand's going to kind of go like that. I'll just show you the whole thing from an angle where you can see it. This is what the hands look like. I'll just do the hands without the stepping. That's what the hands look like. I have no idea whether this will work or not, but let's give it a go. Look at this virtual reality Qigong. Hang on, my cord's not long enough. Okay, there we go. Oh, I think I need a wider angle lens. Anyway, let's okay, let's try that. Here we go. Sorry, hang on. I'm trying to look at the screen and do my hand movements at the same time. Let's try that again. That kind of works, I think. Okay, so I hope that's given you a general feel of what the hands move like. Now we've got to just put that in. It's a very simple movement to step forward. Now, how I was doing it just there in front of the camera was like the most, it might seem quite small, but that was like the most large that I can do it kind of thing. So that was quite large and accentuated. If you see me doing it just when I'm really in the zone, or if you see a video of my father doing it or something, you won't see quite as much movement to the wrists. You might see something, you might occasionally see something more like this. I'll just try to do one round for you.
You come upstairs when you're finished.
Okay, Clara. See what I mean about moving so you can't feel the movement. But if you start like that, you don't learn the movement in the first place. You see, you got to, where are my hands going? You got to learn the physical attributes. That's what I'm focusing on this week, and then we'll get into this more subtle stuff next week. So, back to here, back weighted. Sit back, rear fingers to the wrist. Sit forward, bring your hands together. Weights on the front leg now. Scoop the hand in as you step forward with the rear leg. Place that leg down at the front, like so, by the time you're in this position. So the left hand is now yang, sorry, I'll just say this hand. I'm just going to say this hand and that hand, okay, to not confuse left and rights. So this hand is yang, okay, this hand is yin. Let's try that again. Bring them together, sitting back. Sitting forward till the hands are one on the other. Roll up the rear foot as you do this little worm movement and snake it under. And then as you put the foot forward, that's when you go peekaboo there. See, so the snake portion of the movement happens as you roll the foot up, ready to go, ready to step. Then as you step it forward, it just slips. This hand is just coming from this position and just sliding. See, it's like it's pulling something over the hand like that. This is always called pulling the silk tie in China. You have a very small, a very light piece of silk, and you delicately place it over the wrists because the silk molds to your movements so nicely because it's so light, yeah, rather than like a big thick bit of cotton or something like that. So see, I'm starting to move forward as the hands are sliding into each other. Scooping that outer hand in, rolling the foot up. By the time the fingers are pointing forwards, there, see, that's when the foot touches. This hand is yang, this hand here is yin. Now I simply push forward. Notice my center is slightly turned to the side. Now I simply come forward. This hand is going to do exactly like brush knee twist step. Boom. I'm going to sink forward, turn to the front. You're doing brush knee twist step, those of you who are familiar with that. So your little finger is uppermost, see the hand's on a 45-degree angle, and as you drop this elbow down and push the arm forward with the body weight, see you get that little twist, you get this spiral action, but not that much, it just just goes to there. The other hand simply relaxes, and this is all a continuation, of course, it never stops here. Comes off the end, just there, just slips off there, off the edge of the wrist. And the little rear hand is going to go yin. So there's a little bit more difference in the hands compared to your classical Taiji form. This would be both yang. This is yang, this is yin, relatively speaking, in that this is a soft yang and this is a hard yang. But they are still both a yang shape on a basic level. Okay, it's a constant state of fluctuation, but on a basic, simple level for beginners, yeah, it's not like this. That's not brush knee twist step. That's brush knee twist step. You see, whereas this one, see, that's where the hand will be like that. And it's a little bit higher up as well. This top hand is just like brush knee twist step, same sort of positioning, like chest height, like finger under the chin sort of thing. The other hand is about the height of your rear, your other elbow-ish, around there. So it's still in that same, see the hands are always around here for the whole time. That's where you're going to be ending up, like that. Let's try that again. Sitting back, preparation, moving forward, sliding the hand up, starting to step, scooping the hands in, placing the foot, the hands are now ready to separate and strike. Okay. Let's try it the other side. There is a little transition there, a little Qigong thing, but again, we'll go into that. I haven't got time to do everything this week on this class. Let's just sit in the opposite position, like so. So again, it's sitting back till your fingers meet the wrist, sitting forward. There's two ways of doing this. To begin with, as you move forward, just let your toes turn out just a fraction. Not all the way out to the corner like you would in your Taiji form, because the steps are different in that for different reasons. I'm not going to go over all that now. You can leave it there where it is, but don't do that right now while you're learning it. Let your toes turn out just a fraction, like just sort of halfway to the corner or so. Slide your hand up. Weight's now forward. Now as you do the scooping action, step. By the time you finish that scooping action, your foot's ready to go on the ground. Fingers are pointing forward. Hand is yin. This hand is yang. Again, this is yin. This is yang. Just sit back. I'm going to physically move back just so I stay in frame of the camera. You might need to do the same depending on the space in your room. That's not part of the Qigong though. You would normally just keep progressing forwards. Let's try it again. I will give you just the when to breathe. Take an in-breath here, and then start to breathe out. And just on the end of your out-breath, you do that first little sit back and bring the hands together. When you begin to step, you breathe in. Till you put your foot on the ground, and then of course you breathe out. To there. Readjust. Same thing, same position, just opposite side. So again, just take an in-breath, then breathe out. So you're starting the movement on an out-breath. That's still an out-breath as you're doing that forward movement there. When you start the scoopy, wormy movement, that's your in-breath as your foot's starting to step through. And then out-breath. Reset. So you just got to switch your hands because one hand was forward. You got to put the other hand forward. Readjust your feet just into a comfortable position. In breath. Out breath. Let that front toe turn just a fraction out. Remember, try to get your wrists particularly moving so you can't feel them. Sitting back, opposite side. Now when you're first learning this, you can touch the hands together and slide them up one another, like I'm doing now. Slide the hands on each other and then let them split. The classical way to perform the Qigong is again with less physical sensation. So by touching the hands, of course, you're getting a physical sensation, therefore less likely to feel the internal. Okay? So all of this that I've been explaining, all of this movement of the hands, it should be moving. See how I'm doing now? It's just like this. It's like maybe I can just feel the little hairs on the back of my hand, but not. You shouldn't be able to hear it. If you can hear it, there's too much friction. It's just like that. You'll feel like a soft little tickle every now and again. Because if you go too far away, then you won't feel as much happening. You want to be so close that you can feel the heat between the palms, but not the physical touch when you touch the hands together. Let's just try that one more time each side. Nice big in-breath. Out breath, bringing the hands together. See, there's like a little mini version of lift hands, which I'll go into more detail of next week. That would be your in-breath, and then your out-breath starts the next side, you see. So, You can see already there's quite a lot in that, and I've barely scratched the surface of what's going to happen within this Qigong. There's a whole set of detailed things that have got to happen in the legs, in the stepping. It's a little different than what you're used to in your Taiji form, for example, or your Bagua form. Maybe it's done occasionally in those forms, but this is a very specific. You can't really see the difference, but when I explain it to you, you'll feel the difference. And then you'll see it once I've explained it to you of the legs. There are the point activations, the meridian activations through the palms. A little bit more about the breathing work. So there's quite a lot more to getting these happening. And I don't know if you saw then, but because I got a little bit into the Qigong, when I first started showing you, the hands kind of, they move a bit more physically. The changes are a little bit more in the beginning. So my hands were looking something more like that, you see. But as the charge built up a bit more, that top hand particularly, it didn't want to bend so much, you see. It's kind of like a hose pipe. The more current that's going through it, the harder it is to bend the hose. A lot of you will have felt this when doing movements like single whip in your Taiji form. You learn the movement like that. But when you're really into it, especially when you get into the second or third thirds, you've been doing your form, you've already started with some Qigong or something like that, and you get to that single whip position and your hand just, everything still happens, but it's not quite, you see, because of that current going through the arm. You just go, Everything's still there. This is why you've got to learn the physical first. If you taught a beginner right from the start, and this is what's happened with a lot of people, you'll see something like this. You'll see someone go, see? Now, those of you who've been practicing for some time, you'll see, oh, how much stuff is happening there. Beginners don't see that. All the beginner sees is this. They come to here. That's completely different, you see. And so a lot of postures in Taiji have been lost because the master, the teacher, only ever does their form how they do their form, not explaining it to the beginner. So the beginner goes, oh yeah, he's just going like that. All right, cool, yeah, I got that. He doesn't realize there's a big circle there. So you first have to learn that whole sequence of movements. Then everything just happened the same, just extremely small. And that's that way of doing your form, the extreme, gentle, internal yin way of doing the form. Remember, it doesn't mean it's better. A lot of people have this idea that large frame is better. No, no, small frame is better. You've got to do both. They balance each other out. You get to the level where you're doing everything really small. Your stances start becoming smaller. Your hands start becoming smaller. Your Taiji starts looking a little closer to this. If that's all you ever practice, especially as you get older, you're going to end up stiffening up. You're then going to go, okay, hang on, I'll just show the beginners how to move. And you go, oh, gee, I haven't done that in a while. Oh, you can't hold your balance and your legs tighten up, these kind of things. We need to keep our physical, muscular, skeletal system healthy as well as the internal side of things. So always remember that the large frame and the small frame work together. All right. Okay, so that was the first Qi development tool, or an introduction, shall we say, to the first Qi development tool. I felt like the deadly kata I managed to get through. I mean, there's still more details to come with that, but I managed to get through a bit more of what's in it. Whereas this one, there's the stuff which is in the katas, there's like just as much in there, but because they're a bit bigger and more obvious, it's easier to understand where those things are. With this is why I like to break it up over 2 classes and just give you just that much first. Let that sort of settle into your body. Practice that. Try and get some practice, even if it's just 5 minutes, but every day. Think little and often, rather than doing like a 2-hour session once before next week. Think little and often, just 5 minutes. Oh yeah, that's nice. And then, and particularly try and maybe do it at the end of any other training you're doing. So maybe you do your Taiji form, your Bagua form, some Qigong, whatever practice you do. Tag that on the end so that, again, you're practicing it when you're already in that zone that you want to be in when you do that. Yeah, I think that will set you up nicely. And then hopefully next week you'll have it already in your brain. You'll be like, yep, the physical mechanics of it. And then we can really start looking at these really refined Qigong attributes of these Qigongs. Were there any questions?
Hey, this is
Just the
Guillaume.
one with stepping. Oh, sorry, Guillaume. You can go first.
Oh, okay. Should our pelvic be tucked in when we're doing this?
Yes.
Shoulders rounded?
Apart from, so when you tuck your pelvis in, the pelvis is never in one position in anything, apart from if you're doing a static Qigong, of course, like standing, that's a static stance. So of course everything's in one position. I mean, apart from the breath, that's the only real movement. So when you do something like a brush knee twist step, I'll just quickly jump up and show you this. That's a good question. Hang on, I need to put myself back on big screen. Oh wait. Okay, so when you move. Okay, so let's say I'm in a front stance like that. So there's my pelvis tucked. So I'm not standing like this, for example. It's tucked under. When I move forward, though, when you move beyond a certain point, so just here, a quick little example of this. If I'm standing in a short stance, I can have this flat. If I take that same sort of alignment, but really, really long, so this rear leg is now really extended out to the rear. It's no longer, see, when I'm in a shorter stance, the leg's kind of hanging down a little bit more vertically. Sure, it's a bit to the rear, but, kind of there. The further that foot moves to the rear, no physical way in hell that I could get this to be completely flat, right? I'd have to bend that leg, you see. So when your leg is that far back, it has to be slightly downwardly tilted. The other time that will happen is in movements like, for example, tripping repulse monkey, because you are kicking backwards. So then, of course, you're engaging these muscles like you're lifting the leg up. Can you see that? If I'm in a position like that, you see, I wouldn't want to be going, oh, I'm going to kick that way, but tuck my pelvis. That doesn't work. You can't tuck your pelvis and kick because everything's going backwards. So that means when you step forward, in say a position like this, when I move forward, it's extremely subtle. So your pelvis kind of more or less is staying tucked. But technically speaking, at this moment, like there's full tuck, there's flat tuck. It's just a little tiny tilt down, which loads that knee strike to then tuck everything up. Whoa. You see, and you get this action for your brush knee twist step. So that's what's happening when we do any of those ones where we step forward into the movement. Because it means that rear leg is going to be more lengthened to the rear. So a slight downward tilt on the pelvis, and then as soon as the toe comes off the ground, See, it's loading it and then connecting it through. So now it's all tucking under. Then, of course, it holds there and go into the next one. So, yeah, with this Qi Development tool, of course, everything's a lot smaller, so that's going to be even more subtle. So I'm tucked here, like as if I'm doing my Qigong. Tucking in, and then just here, just as that leg extends out to the rear, I'm still tucked. I'm not sticking my bum out, but there's a ever so slight fluctuation in the pelvis, in that it is a tiny, barely visually noticeable downward tilt. And then as you lift your foot to bring it through to the front, then your pelvis will sort of tuck under to bring your foot through to the front. So just a quick little pelvis tilt 101. And Rick, what was your question?
It's about the stepping, because you turn your foot out a tiny bit, but when you take the step, do you align the front foot to the cardinal line, or do you also slightly offset it?
It's more or less to the front. So we're sort of doing like a soft, smaller version of a bow stance. So yeah, that rear foot's just not quite out to the 45 like a normal bow stance. It's just a little bit, as I said, the half corner. The front foot is more or less to the front. That's part of what I'll explain more on next week. This whole Qigong can start to become very tight, in which case when the rear foot starts straightening up even more, you will kind of feel yourself going into a little bit more of a power stance. So if you're feeling the stance coming in a little tighter, and then your front foot kind of goes, ooh, I kind of want to creep in just that little bit, which doesn't fit when you're doing the larger bow stance as in your Taiji form. But yeah, when the feet come a little closer together, the rear foot straightens up, that front foot just kind of goes, ooh, and goes in a little bit. So if you're feeling that already kind of start to happen, that's probably why, because everything's a little smaller and more compressed into the movement. Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All good? Fantastic. All right, well, good stuff, guys. I enjoyed that. It was nice to get back into those. I haven't done these Qi Development tools for quite some time. I mean, I've done them here and there at workshops and that, but I've been looking forward to doing them, revisiting them myself as well, because I loved them when I first learnt them, and I've sort of gone back to them many times over the years, but I haven't done them in some time now, apart from just in the last couple of weeks, sort of revisiting them so that I have it in my head when I'm teaching them. Yeah, so next week you'll see the real magic start to happen in that first little Qigong method. All right, everyone have a nice night, or morning, or afternoon, wherever you are.
Thank you.
I'm going to go and chill out for a bit and then head to bed. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
See you soon.
Bye.
Later,
Thank you
bye.
very much. Yeah.